me show you why pros really can enjoy ball then turf strikes. Your amateurs struggle and fight to get into good impacts and to make those great strikes with irons, but also this works with driver as well. Today's tip's going to just blow your mind. There's a standout difference here between amateurs and pros that so many of you are missing. And if we can get you working this in better, I promise you, your golf is just going to get so much better. When we look at pros, shoulder turn, so the angles they move and turn their shoulders, and we compare them to a lot of amateurs, we see some fundamental differences in the way they turn their shoulders on the way back and certainly on the way through. You're tending to see way more, let's call it shoulder tilt from the better players, certainly post impact and definitely on the backswing as well, where amateurs we see considerably less. And this leads to really tricky impact positions, which is why we see so many amateurs having to fudge impact, get breakdowns, flicking forward, burying clubs in ground, or trying to miss the ground, topping the ball, and just making striking and better golf way harder for themselves. And it's so much of it is to do with the way you're not turning your shoulders. Really quick, simple little test. You can do this at home. And I'm stood nice and upright. So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to lean forward a little bit, not as much as golf posture, but a little bit. And what happens is this arm starts to bend. Now what I'm going to do is just turn and rotate slightly this way, still leaning forwards. This arm stays slightly bent. I'm too close now to this wall, so I'm breaking this arm down to make sure my tips level out with the ground. Think about that as your impact position at the minute. Same idea, I'm going to stand up, tips on the wall. This time what I'm going to do is I'm going to lean forwards, which bends this arm a little bit. But I'm now going to add loads of side bending, so I'm going to start bending back this way. So I'm going this way. And what happens is my arm starts stretching out, and then I'm going to add some rotation, meaning this shoulder's gone back. And now I can barely reach the wall. I'm having to really stretch out to get to that wall. So some context to that, all I'm going to do is lean forward in golf posture, rotate this way. Now what's happening, this arm's breaking down. Let's pretend I want to push the club straight out in front of me as well. Lots of golfers do. We recognise in these positions, if I, from this position, leaning forward, rotated, if I stretch this arm out, it feels like the club's going the other side of the ball. So really, it's burying in the ground here. People don't want to bury it in the ground here, so what they do, break that down, flick that forwards to try and get everything to brush at the bottom. Crash central. So with the second example, golf posture, now I'm going to lean this way a lot. And then I'm going to rotate to get back up to the ball. Look what's happening now. Hands want to push forward, stretching out lead arm. I don't feel like I can crash, and I feel like I'm going to get ball then turf. This is your classic impact position that you see so many in. Fundamental difference was this with rotation compared to no side bend, let's call it, but rotation and leaning forwards. What I'm doing is bending this way, rotating, which actually gets me leaning back. Ball then turf, lovely strikes. With your driver, great strikes if the ball position is right, where you just start plucking it off the tee. And for loads of you, we get rid of these actions, which is causing the horrible crashes. So the dynamics of the way you move your body, the tilts and turns and twists that you put into your spine are absolutely going to contribute to better or worse shots, as we see from the amateur to the pro example given at the start. So here's 3 great drills to get you start feeling that your shoulder turn's helping you, not hurting you. The number 1, club across my chest here, and I've got the grip end sticking out as far as I can this side, ball down in front of me here, and what I'm going to do is I'm just going to try and point this club basically just over the ball, so it's actually hitting a spot about here. You can even put a ball out there if you want. So let's say I'm going to put the ball nearly the heads to the grip width out in front of me. And what I'm going to do is point that club somewhere between those points. And I'm going to exaggerate it. I'm even going to point it down at the ball a little bit to get a feeling of more tilt. Because again, the common pattern with so many amateurs is to get that club pointing way off to infinity and beyond, certainly way out in front of them as they turn and stand up. Now you can flip this over on the downswing, just simply put the club now out behind you. I've got it so the face is up in the air here, because I'm going to actually feel like I'm going to try and hit the ball with the face of my club. Now you're going to see my lead leg extends, my hip extends, this hip goes down, my lead shoulder comes up as my trail shoulder goes down. Remember the positions we saw with the amateurs, they were more hitting it this way. Club way out, almost hitting the second ball. So really get the feeling of that right shoulder coming down under your chin. So you feel like you're going under yourself to hit the ball rather than around yourself and then up and over. You've seen it, you watch telly, they're hitting it this way. So many amateurs are up here, well, up here trying to push straight, which is why we see this so much. Second drill I use with students to try and get the feeling of this. Simply, I want you on your backswing so you can hit shots more with this one. Point the club or your lead shoulder, down at the ball on the backswing. So feel like it goes under your chin and that your chin sees the ball. Not so much that your shoulder's kind of leveling up with the ball. I'm much more pointing it down at the ball. So meaning my shoulder in my peripheral view here is kind of over my feet line, where my shoulder here now is kind of looking like it's more over the ball in perspective. But more importantly, I just want you to freeze on the way through. And I want you to feel like your trail shoulder, which has come out in front of your chin, is as low as it can get. Really feel like you're tilted. You will come out and out of these positions on a full follow through, but I want you just to have a slightly stunted follow through where you get the feeling that you're throwing your trail shoulder almost down to hit the ball. It's this shoulder that's coming down and under to hit the ball. And you will really feel like you're coming under yourself a lot more to hit it, rather than just around yourself. This is a great drill for on the course if you're struggling at the range and at home, where you're trying to get the feelings of these shoulder turns. You can also do this. I'm using the camera viewfinder here. I would do it in front of a reflection, trying to feel what's right and wrong. The second drill, where you're trying to get that right shoulder down and hit shots, it's a really good one to take to the range and try and hit balls and see what happens to your strike. Now the last drill is going to be much more focused around what you're feeling with your hips, because the way your hips turn and tilt in the swing also will encourage these tilts with your upper body. I want you to place the club on your lead thigh here, and I want you, so the club head is basically kind of on top of my foot. It's on foot level. It's just on the outside of my leg here. Now backswing, I'm going to make a backswing just with my trail hand. I'm going to try and push this club into the ground. So I'm going to feel like lead hip is pushing this club down and slightly in, which is going to get me rotating and with a bit of an angle, because that's where my hip angle is going to encourage better shoulder turns. So backswing again, lots of people will turn quite flat. You can do this at home where the club doesn't want to touch the ground. So feel like lead hip goes down, trail hip raises up, and I'm really pushing it, like getting a bit of bend in the shaft. So I'm going to really try and push into that ground with this head. Now on the downswing, I'm going to try and get it going up. So over my foot, this way, because lots of you on the downswing are literally going to just turn and it's just going to ram into your foot. And this feeling of trying to get your hips to go more this way and this way is only going to allow you to go this way and this way more with your shoulders and get rid of these rotations that we are seeing just time and time again with golfers. You can even work this into shots. So again, feeling like your hips tilt on the way back, lead hip down, trail hip up, but then downswing, really feel like this hip is getting up to the sky as the trail hip goes down, and that in turn helps you feel like you are coming under on the way through so much more. This fundamental difference between amateurs and pros is something that if you can iron out your swing, I feel like you're going to make a step towards improving your golf long term. And that's what I've noticed with students. It just like knocks them on long term. And the combination of doing these drills at home and on the course is definitely the best way for you to move your striking on. Now, if you want to improve your driving and find more distance, I did this video last week and people are going mad for it. Let me know if it helps you.